Hello guys and welcome back to another F1 League Racing video here today. This is WOR round number 9 for the Spanish Grand Prix, and of course a bit of a change in terms of what we're used to, as of course the Spanish Grand Prix has been updated for this year's game. So we have the new turn 10 and just generally the new reprofiled circuit, so we're going to see what that's like in a league racing environment. Now if you haven't seen the last episode, go check it out guys, link in the top right. A pretty decent race in Monza in the pouring rain. Go check it out. A bit of a different thumbnail concept that I worked on for that one. If you haven't seen it, link in the top right. But yeah, if you're going to enjoy today's episode, then leave a like and subscribe, and we're going to get into the action. Now, in the background, you saw me finish my first time lap in qualifying. We're now going to move on to my second run, and we're going to leave the laps in full so we can kind of commentate and also go through the details of, you know, what was happening at the time. So my first lap was actually quite slow. I wasn't fully satisfied with it. I have gone for a bit of a gamble, so I think everybody or most cars are running, I'd say +1 on front and rear wing compared to me in this, entire event. So we'll see how that fares, on the trade-off. I'm kind of going for a bit more straight line speed to hopefully make myself a bit harder to pass on the straight, and also able to recharge battery a bit quicker. Now then, we go purple in sector 1, which is a great start to the lap. We do have a bit of a scruffy middle sector though, and we've lost a big chunk of that time, but now from turn 9 onwards I started to feel the confidence. The track was rubbering in and getting faster, and you can see especially here turn 10 we found a chunk of time which was really helpful. The Ferrari gets out the way as well for good measure, and we're now a tenth and a half up as we're just finding time everywhere, especially through this part of the racetrack. And this is where you can really make up time if you have that confidence to keep the throttle on, get the power down early. You can do really well. Now this lap's going to be a 4/10 improvement. We're going to set a 1:16.4, and that is pretty damn solid. My personal best is a 0.3, so we've done that on our second lap, which is very encouraging, and we've still got possibly 2 more runs here if we get the timing right. So here we are, attempt number 3, as we have Jeffrey Ritchie there, who had spun, recovering to the pits. We're going to run down to turn 1 though, and for this one we want to try and bring the car all the way over to the left. Brake, I would say, on the little tarmac strip that's kind of splitting the green on the left. That's your reference to brake. Very important to attack the curbs through 1 and 2 and try to maintain that minimum speed. And you can see we're up already by half a tenth, and we was already purple through here, so that's a very good first sector. Now then, into sector 2 we find even more time. Into turn number 5, trying to take a very wide entry and then down into the apex very early. We actually lost a little bit of time, currently just under half a tenth up. Through 7 and 8 we absolutely nailed it through here, and we're over a tenth up as we go through turn 9. Not quite flat, but carrying the speed in 6th gear, and we find even more time, and we're up by about 1.2 tenths into sector 2. So this is a very good lap. This could be a high 0.2, which would be a personal best. We lost a little bit through turn 10, a little bit more though through turn 11 as we just missed the apex, and generally the lap was just starting to slip away from me. We go over the curb a bit too much, and I actually bail on it because with 3 minutes to go there's enough time to come back in, put on the last set of tyres and go for another qualifying lap. So here we are. I know there's time to find because we saw it on the last lap. I can go at least 1.2 tenths faster, so let's see if we can deliver as we begin our final attempt. Everybody out on track. This is it. Everything, all or nothing. Turn 1, brake at the patch, which is about 60 meters down to 5th. Attacking turn 2, especially through there, as we nail it, and we stay nice and tight through 3. And we'll look at this, we're 3/4 of a tenth up. This is a much better first sector, and we go purple straight away through turn 4, getting the power down much earlier, and we're already a tenth up. Into turn 5, I know we dropped a bit of time here last time, and it's even worse as we outbrake ourselves a little bit and throw away loads of time, and we're actually briefly down there, so we lost about a tenth. Through 7 and 8 though we recover time, and we're 3/4 of a tenth up, carrying the speed through turn 9 once more, maintaining that advantage, and we now head into turn number 10, braking at the 100, turn in. We don't quite get all the apex, and I actually had a slight lock-up which cost us some time. And now at this point I'm trying to push really hard to recover lap time, and you can see we actually go a bit quicker through through the long right of turn 11 into the final part of the lap now, and we're just overdriving it a little bit at this point, and we actually don't improve, and we're going to lose out as we go half a tenth slower. So yeah, a bit of a shame overall. We didn't improve on those last 2 runs because there was more time in it. And if you look, we finished in P12, a very close and stacked grid. And to be fair, looking at the final laps, I think a top 5 was quite easily achievable. Dare I say, P2 on a perfect lap wouldn't have been out of the question. We did go purple in Sector 1 on the very last run. That was, I believe, the fastest first sector overall. We was, of course, at one point, 1.2 tenths up. And there were little bits of time that we, could have found. Overall, on the last lap, that's the one that I'm kind of taking the main takeaway from. Before the mistake in turn 5, we was a tenth up, and then we found a bit more time through 7 and 8. So I do think 1.5 tenths faster was fair, which would have put us somewhere around P3. So the pace is there, which is encouraging. Even with the setup changes, the car seems fast. I feel comfortable, and things are looking good. So even though it's P12, we've got a chance in the race to fight back. So let's get into it, and let's see what we can do. Now we're here for the race and the main event, and I'm going to go into a bit of detail here as we had a bit of a problem. So I went ahead and prepared my 2 strategies. Now the plan in this moment was to wait until the last few seconds to check the race director and see what tyres everybody's starting on. So whether, that would help me choose whether I start on mediums or hards. If everybody's on hards, I might go for mediums, or I might just match them up on hards, or maybe you can go for a set of softs. That kind of thing, basically. So I'm expecting everyone to go hards, and if that's the case, I'm going to start on the hard tyre myself, because you don't want to be on the medium and then going for the hard tyre later. So with about 9 seconds to go, I had my strategies prepped, both customized, also the fuel load, and we're ready to go. Now, I went ahead after this and went and looked at the race director. So if you press play, you'll see now we went ahead, paused it, race director, and for some reason my game froze out. I had no control. I was backing out and I couldn't do anything. So unfortunately, because I had selected the medium strategy, we're now forced into this option, and I think I'm the only car on mediums. Everybody else is on the hard tyre. So not ideal. Anyway, lights out. We're going to have the upper hand in terms of grip in the first few laps, so we have to make it count. We get Jeffrey Ritchie off the line straight away, who of course is the championship leader. That's turn 1 though. Jeffrey back down the outside. Also, one of the Haas cars involved. There's a 3-car scrap, and we just lose the back end. It was so quick. The car just bottomed out a little bit there on the exit. We went right on the kind of the green paint to avoid the incident, and I just put the power down, and I just felt the car bottom out, and we just put the gas on, and it went. And luckily no damage somehow from all of that chaos, but a bit of an unfortunate one. Obviously I just spun it under the power, but there was just no grip, and I just felt the plank hit the bottom, so the car was kind of skating, and as soon as the wheels traction back up, it just went round. So a bit of an unfortunate one really, as of course many cars were also off, so we've kept that car in one piece, but we're a long way back. Anyway, we're going to get past Alex here straight away in the McLaren, as we're going to get to work on the mediums and try to recover and make up for lost time. So hopefully we can get ourselves back into the DRS train of the cars ahead. You've got all the deltas. We've got a few breakaways. There's definitely a leading group of about 6-7 cars, and then there's like a second group further back. You can see now we're 1.3 behind Mark Schluter, who we're hopefully going to get within his DRS ASAP. Also Jeffrey Ritchie, I believe, having a spin out the final corner, which is going to help us just close the gap definitively and bring us into the DRS train. So DRS enabled as we get ready for the race to pretty much begin at this point. We're now P16, we started P12, we're basically P16 now, and we've got to try and fight back. On to lap 5, and nothing really happened. Unfortunately, the DRS train is very strong here at Spain. 2 DRS zones, even with my lower wing setup, nothing was really happening. One consequence of running less wings is that even though I was quicker over the lap, I was struggling a bit out of the crucial traction zone, which is this one right here, the final corner. I just wasn't able to get the power down like the others. It took me a bit longer to really go flat out, and that was costing me potential runs, onto other people down to turn 1. So yeah, unfortunately, it was a bit of a frustrating first stint, and at this point I just had my eye on the pit stops, and the timing of the pit stops was going to be really, really key. I kept on trying to get past Jeffrey, lap 7. He was starting to drop off the pace a little bit. He made a few slight errors, and I was trying to put some pressure on, but the moment I got close enough, I just lost all grip. The car felt very, very unstable when I got really close to other cars. We have a huge moment through turn 9, and yeah, that kind of just dropped me back once again. So yeah, I tried a few things, it didn't really work, and it wasn't really worth me just wasting my battery to get past one single car, so we need to play a long game here and try something different. Now on lap 10, Fritzen in the Aston Martin was starting to struggle for pace, and he was dropping back, and this was causing a breakup in the DRS train. Jeffrey Ritchie does get by. He got the traction at the final corner, which was pretty substantial compared to me. I was really struggling with the rear end, and he gets by. Now then, it was our turn, and I know Fritzen is pretty damn low on battery. I saw his light flash a couple of times, so he's floating around 10 to 12% battery.
Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of it. We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time.
Now we're going to try to look and get by on this lap, but again, we're just not close enough. We're fast on the straight, but we're running out of straight as well. Lap 13, again, I was really pushing through this final part of the lap to get close, but I started to overdrive like in qualifying. That was actually costing me time, and I was making more mistakes. I do think in hindsight, the lesser wings cost me pace. I should have gone a bit higher for the race. Nonetheless, this time we have the run on Fritzen. You can see it's out of battery. We've got the straight line speed. As we go down the inside, we just about avoid the sausage curbs as we get squeezed a little bit, and I wasn't able to fully commit to that move. Also, at this point, we've kind of hit that crossover now where the hard tyre is actually better than the medium. My tyres don't really have the edge anymore, so that's a bit frustrating. And in hindsight, I wish I'd pit on that lap rather than stay out one more and try to go for the overtake, because we lost a load of time on that last lap staying out. It really did hurt our race, and the tyre on the hards is pretty low, so we should have boxed one lap ago. Either way, we're onto the hard tyres, and we're going to rejoin and see what we can do. Realistically though, we're hoping for a safety car, because we lost too much time in that lap 1 spin that, you know, it's going to be hard to make up, and the leading pack is pulling at a very, very strong pace right now. So yeah, Bruno Ferrer left did Sabrino, Jernaj, Harlan Marcus, Leroy Brown, my teammate, the top 6 really, you know, just running at their own pace, and you can see on the minimap they're going down to turn 10 right now. So yeah, it is what it is. I then got to work on the hards, and they were okay for the most part. They were a little bit on edge in terms of it, you know, they were snapping a little bit, so I was lacking a bit of confidence overall. But Jeffrey Ritchie is leading the pit exit, and you can see the gap is about 5 seconds approximately. We was behind him, of course, when he overtook Fritzen, so you can see just in those last 5 laps or so, we've lost a lot of time between not being able to get past Fritzen, trying to battle him, and also probably pitting 1 or 2 laps too late. So a bit of a crucial error there from me, error of judgment, you know, in terms of prediction in the race. I should have just not gone to the scrap, and I should have pit. Dare I say, I should have pit when I saw Jeffrey go for the move, really. That would have been probably the best time. Alex and Fritzen did pit eventually, and we had a nice comfortable gap over them, as we've got a pretty substantial undercut, of course, on the hard tyre. And also Taz is now in, so we're going to be up to P14. However, they're going to be on fresher rubber and faster rubber, so we'll see how that goes. There is Taz feeding in behind us. We'll pull away a little bit as we have warm tyres, so the gap's going to go from a second to about 2 seconds as Taz gets his tyres up to temp, so we're going to increase the gap a little bit. Up ahead though, you can see we're losing time to Jeffrey and Kobe because they're all in the train, and we just don't have, you know, that DRS for the 2 DRS zones, which is, I'd say, about half a second, 6/10 per lap. It's about 4/10 on the main straight and 2/10 on the back straight. So yeah, we're trying to push and do the best we could. I still have some battery left, but the reality is we're on a slower tyre, and it's just the way it goes. Left though made a mistake. He lost it out at turn 9 and also had a penalty, so that's going to move us into P13. So we gain a place.
Okay, clear.
And now at this point, what I can really hope for is that we get a safety car, or a few people get some penalties really. We've done a good job so far of not having a single warning yet. We've done a good job in Monza as well, last race, to not get a single warning. So I've definitely cleaned up my penalties, you know, my track limit warnings, which I had a few rough races with. We've done a much better job of keeping it in line. Lap 25 now though, eventually Taz caught up and he dragged Alex with him. Now, a bit like with me in the first stint, the tyres started to even out at this point, so Taz used all of his battery to get past me. I felt more confident, I knew I had some pace, and I was going to basically spend a couple laps behind him recharging, because I know when I fight back I'm going to get by and I'm going to stay in front. So I'm just basically just trying to recharge some battery and consider a move. Now, lap 27, this is earlier than I expected, but Taz actually made a mistake through the final corner and lost the back end, so I'm just going to go straight through. We're actually going to make the move without having to use any battery because of the lack of momentum from the Alpine. So we go through and get the job done. Alex now also pushing on to look for the move. This is now our chance to break away, but we get taken out and we get turned around. Yellow flag as well because somebody else at turn 3 lost it. I think it was Jeffrey Ritchie, and coincidentally we get a safety car. So we have a way back into the race, which is great, and that is really, really good. We had a bit of
You've got to give that position back, mate. We're under safety car conditions and you can't overtake. Return the position.
we had a bit of a weird tussle here because the game was basically not letting us, or it couldn't decide who was going in front, but I couldn't stay in front, so we had to let Alex go. Either way, that aside, Jeffrey Ritchie, the championship leader, crashed out, so that triggered a safety car. So had we not been taken out, you know, we would have been ahead of both of these guys right now. Now, we're going to go into the pits and we're going to put on a set of soft tyres. We don't have any fresh tyres left. We're going to have to use a used set of softs. Ideally, I wish I'd pit maybe 1 or 2 laps later. We could have probably stretched this a bit because the safety car is so far ahead and we could have had slightly fresher tyres. But basically, we're going to cruise. We're not going to work our tyres. We're going to catch up to the pack very slowly to not put any wear onto the rubber. And hopefully we'll have slightly better tyres for the final shootout at the end. Now, it's going to be tough. There's no DRS and we're in a train. So let's see what happens. It's going to be 2 racing laps and we're P13 right now. So the points are just there. So let's see what we can do as we get back underway. We're going to make sure we get a nice clean exit out the final corner. And that's exactly what we get. We're going to have pretty much unlimited battery for 2 laps. We can use as much as we like. About 50% per lap is going to be, you know, the perfect amount. I do a bit of time walk here just to make sure we're ready to push, and we're going to try and see if we can make something happen. I'm also hoping, you know, some of the guys ahead start to battle, make mistakes, get a bit dirty, all that kind of stuff. And at this stage, any time penalty is going to drop someone back by 12 places, 15 places. So that's going to be a big benefit to us. Now we get a tap in the rear from Alex again on lap 32, which completely sets me offline, which is a real shame because I was actually getting really close to Fritzen and I was going to line him up for a move into turn 1. Instead, I'm now on the defensive. Luckily, you can see my straight line speed here, how strong it is with the battery, and luckily we can stay in front, but that cost me a potential overtaking opportunity on the Aston Martin, which was a real shame. I then kept on pushing for the rest of this final lap, but the reality is everybody has full battery, there's no DRS, and overtaking's hard here anyway, so we couldn't make anything happen. I tried to put the pressure on here. I felt I was so much quicker, but it's just hard to pass him, man. It really is, and you know, it is what it is. We got the safety car, we brought us back into the race, but there wasn't really enough time to do anything about it. We do have an incident as one of the AlphaTauris go off and we hit the back of Fritzen there, but other than that, P12 is where we're going to finish on track. The question is, are there any penalties that we're going to benefit from? The answer is no. So yeah, race done and no points for us. A bit of a disaster really, and a real shame because there was so much potential there, especially in qualifying. We finished where we started, which I don't entirely mind considering how terrible the race was, but yeah, look at the results. Leroy Brown, my teammate, P4, excellent result from him and a really strong points finish, which I'm really happy about. Sergio Sabrino wins on home soil, and yeah, a bit of a surprise in top 4, I've got to say, top 3, top 2. Elsewhere, for us though, if you look at Taz and Fritzen, you know, we were ahead of them before we got taken out, so at the very least it could have been P10 today. It could have been a single point, maybe even more, who knows, but we'll never know. Ultimately, my race was ruined at the start because I was offset on strategy, which was a problem. So had we started on hards, it would have been a much better race for us, but it wasn't to be, and a bit of bad luck, and also, you know, just a bit of the game let me down as well, and also myself. You know, I hold my hand up for the spin on lap 1 to an extent. Like I said, the car I felt the car bottom out, and when I had the power on, the wheels just spun up when they tractioned back up, which wasn't ideal. But I did a good job of avoiding the incident, which is also a skill in itself. But yeah, we then got taken out. Of course, the race director messed me up, so sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it don't. We, of course, got P4 last race. This time it's a bit of a stinker in P12. But we go again. The next race is Abu Dhabi, and we'll try and fight back. I do feel like I'm starting to find my rhythm, though. Even though there's a lot of inconsistency, like my qualifying pace, I feel like I'm getting stronger. That's 2 races now without a single warning as well. And I do feel like I'm just starting to hit my stride a little bit. I just want to try and see if I can get a bit more consistency and a slice of better luck. So, yeah, guys, that is it for the race at Spain. And we go again. Unfortunate with the circumstances. Hopefully we can do a better job in Abu Dhabi, which is the next one, of course. And my first ever league race around the new layout, which I'm very excited about. But guys, leave a like still if you enjoyed at least the qualifying anyway. Subscribe for more weekly league racing content, and I've got more updates on the way very soon. As always, a massive shout out to the members, and finally check out the 2 videos on your screen right now. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see all of you in my next video.